Welcome to Eye on the Illini. This is Mike Kegley. We are going to have on Kedrick Prince. We're going to have on Brad Sturdy. We might have on Larry Smith, but we do have Marcus Griffin, Illini baller, the man.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Watching this, if you look at the folks are fired up. We've got the first fire Brad for the game. Didn't take long. Look, I love Fran. If I'm Brad Underwood, and thank the Lord, Illini fans, that I am not, I would hire Fran to be my offensive coordinator because he gets Iowa with no quickness and very few athletes to be at first, second, or third in the Big Ten in scoring every year.
Yeah.
And then I would bring in Bruce Weber to be my defensive coordinator. Tell them both you don't have to travel. We leave all that to Orlando and Jeff Alexander. You can just be the coaches here. You run the D and the O, and then I'll just be the executive leader. Marcus, that sound like a good plan?
That sounds like a plan.
A plan.
That sounds like a plan. I just don't. I know Coach from Iowa, Coach Fran, he gets those boys to play at a high level offensively. So that would definitely be good.
Yeah, I don't think we want him anywhere near the defense, though.
Huh?
I don't think we want him anywhere near the defense.
No. But I think I like that idea when I think about it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go real quick for folks who haven't had a chance to look at the stat sheet. Boswell, 14 points, 3 boards, and 3 turnovers. Riley, 15 points, 7 boards and a turnover. Ivasic never got in rhythm, 4 points, 6 boards, 4 fouls. White, 8 points, 2 rebounds. Yakachonis, 15 points, 10 boards, but 6 turnovers. Gibbs Lawhorn didn't score. Rickhouse, 3 points, 4 boards. Jake Davis didn't score, but had a rebound and 3 assists. And Merez Johnson had 6 points, 9 boards, and 3 fouls. I felt like this game, I thought that there's 2 things that you don't want to have happen. First off, you don't want to play a team that's a bad matchup for you, and I think Maryland's a bad matchup. And then when you play a team that's a bad matchup, you don't want to play bad, and Illinois played bad.
But honestly, if we start our 2 big boys, they're not a bad matchup. The only reason it becomes a bad matchup is because we switch everything. Don't switch pick and rolls. And because our guards have no chance against those 2 big boys.
Yeah, I agree.
None. And so if we just kept Johnson on one big guy, Tim on the other big guy consistently, we will fare better than not. But when we switching everything and now we got to dig and help in the post, and then you let a 3-point shooter hits a crazy 3, and then that stuff is contagious, like we talked about on previous pods. Now it's contagious, and now they're hitting 3s from 30 feet, and now they're hitting all the mid-range jumpers. They're attacking the basket. Just stay home. Guard your man. But I got a request for you real quick.
Okay.
Can I run and go? Somebody just knocked at my door.
That's perfect. We're not going to stop people from talking to you. We will be here.
I'm just going to stop my cam.
No, I got it. All right, folks. So what we have here is a post game here where the Illini are really missing the athletes who can do 2 things. One, guard the fantastic athletes like you would see Maryland has, and then it's hard for Illinois to set up their own shot. And I do think that Illinois is they're a matchup-based team. So I think when we take a look at what Illinois is going to do in the tournament, I'm not saying Illinois is going to go to the Elite 8 or the Final 4, but I will say the tournament is single elimination, and it's all about who you draw in the matchup.
Yep.
And so if you get the right matchup in the first game and an upset that goes on, and all of a sudden you get people out of your way, you can have a magical run, i.e. George Mason years ago, et cetera. Even look at the 83 NC State team that nobody thought really had a shot at it and ends up winning the title. I'm not saying the Illini are going to do that. This was definitely not the game you want to go into the NCAA tournament thinking about. But next Thursday, when the games tip off, or Friday, depending on where Illinois is, this game doesn't count anymore, and you got to just go out and play. Now, Marcus, you guys obviously had some really nice runs in the tournament. How did you prepare for those?
To be honest, I think my preparation came from high school, because we was early in that type of environment, having the success that we had through high school, and then it was time to eat. Like we was just ready. We was mentally ready to go and plan I remember my senior year playing that gauntlet of a schedule. If you could go back, we played Duke, we played Arizona, we played Seton Hall, all those teams. And then right before Christmas, we went to play Texas. Missouri was ranked in the top 25. So we was battle tested all year, and that's just non-conference. And that's not playing the Michigan States, the Wisconsins, the Purdues. And when we got out of the Big Ten tournament, it's a refresher, and we was ready to go. Now everything that we ever wanted was right in front of us. We had the Big Ten championship. Now we was ready to get an NCAA championship, try to win one.
Now, Ked, you watched that second half. I'm not certain how many people did. It was, you talk about sleepy time. Any thoughts now coming out of the full game?
People are upset. They should be. The team, in my personal opinion, should be embarrassed. You need to do some soul searching, but let's be honest, there's not a lot of time left. It's go time now. It's one and done time, just like this tournament. They lost and now they're home. I don't think you're going to be able to change what this team is going to be. We can sit here, and people who are listening to us can listen to any podcast you want. Sure, this team is talented, and I have no idea what Mr. Griffin was talking about before, but the one thing this team lacks, to me, we're all entitled to our own opinion, they're just not tough enough. They're just not – I watched Maryland literally take the ball right out of Illinois' hands today, and if they couldn't get the rebound, they tipped it out to make sure Illinois couldn't get it. Yeah. I thought Maryland did an exceptional job of taking the two-man game away. They neutralized Kylan Boswell. His game, they neutralized KJ from the pick and roll. If Besic was a non-factor, they have a lot to figure out next week. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what team's going to show up. I'm not going to see him blow smoke to people and think the ceiling is high. It could be, because you saw it last night. But also the ceiling could be low. I've seen a number of tweets. If they play a team like Houston right now, they could lose by 70 because they're just athletic. And this team is not that. They're a typical NBA team without a lot of dogs, I guess, to me is what I see. They run good stuff, but they don't have that Marcus Griffin or Sergio Frank or Terrence Shannon Jr. or DeMonte or Trent Frazier. They don't have that. And I'm sorry, guys. You don't want to hear it. Don't listen to the podcast. I'm sorry, but they don't have it, and it's not going to happen in one game.
To say something real quick to piggyback, I was at the Iowa game yesterday. And everybody was happy. Everybody was cheering because Illinois scored 100-plus points. But you know what I was looking at? I saw that Iowa lost that game. They shot 57% from the field. They shot 59% from three. Those two stats just stuck out to me for some strange reason, because you don't lose most of those games. When you are in that position, those games you win. But then when you look at the rebound, and you saw Illinois out-rebounded them by 20. And I was like, we got a quick turnaround. And then you got Maryland, who's defensively is not the same. They're in a different league than Iowa. And I was like, if our defense is not monumental better, we're going to get blown out. It's not even going to be close, because they got two big bodies who's going to be in the paint no matter how you like it. Them big boys ain't out there trying to shoot threes. They're feasting at the rim. And it was just barbecue chicken today. Like, they came out, they hit Illinois in the mouth, and Illinois didn't recover.
Well, and Illinois, the one thing that we talked about on our last few podcasts was Illinois needed to keep it to about 5 turnovers a half. Illinois ended up with 17 turnovers to 3 for Maryland, and Illinois lost the points off of turnover battle 22 to nothing.
Yeah.
So the only good thing about that stat was it was 17 to nothing at the half. So Illinois improved it in the second half, but you can't give the ball up and create, 22 to nothing. You take that off there, and Illinois is in a 66 to 65 fight with them. As bad as they played, you can't give teams as good as Maryland. You can't just hand them the ball and say, "Hey, why don't you go get a layup or a cool dunk?"
Yeah.
And those are the things that just absolutely drove me nuts. And I know Ked probably was the most verbal about getting frustrated of watching the turnover parade. And unfortunately, it came back. And we had yet another game here where Yakachonis ended up with 6 TOs. And again,
Mike, that's 12 in 2 days.
Yeah.
12 in 2 days.
He's trying to get too deep. Like, he's not relying on, he's trying to get too deep. He's dribbling one or two many 2 times. He got to just pull that second dribble. He's getting, and there where all the hands come in.
Yeah.
He just got to, he gotta get
and
that.
it's all in front
game.
of him, Marcus. The thing that kills me is he's getting the ball stolen between his shoulders. He's moving the ball like right in front of a defender, right in front of him. A lot of times you'll see guys get the ball stolen when they start dribbling wide. He's getting the ball stolen right in his shoulders. And I got to be honest with you, I rarely will you see me go against the NBA scouts. He's still in the top 10 picks.
I don't care.
And I don't see though. If I was an NBA GM, I think he's got a ton of potential, but I just don't know in the NBA. First off, I don't know who he's going to guard, and second off is these NBA guys are good. People don't really get that, and I don't know how he's going to be able to not turn the ball over, because if you're having problems against Iowa. In college,
Drew Holiday,
you ain't gonna Drew Holiday is gonna he's gonna put more steals on you than Jesse James did Banks.
It's not only that. When he drives to the basket, they're throwing his shit off the backboard like pancakes, man. I'm telling you, you know what? We could be wrong. Listen, I've said this before. There was one guy that I said I went to watch play basketball. I drove to Indiana to watch play basketball, and I thought, what a waste of gas, what a lack of sleep, because I thought this kid was going to be the biggest bust ever. And I came back just sticking my chest out, bragging about how bad this guy was. And I'm going to tell you who that player was. And
Michael Jordan.
Stupid. Hell no, Derrick Rose. And I look stupid for saying it. Because he had 2 points, and he didn't care about being out there. So I could be wrong about Cash Press in NBA, but I'm not blind. I know what I see in college, and I'm sorry. Griff just said it. He's 100% right. Sometimes he takes one dribble too many, which is stupid. Pull up and shoot it. He's trying to think pass first, and everybody knows the scouting report on him is me. Put the ball. He brings that ball low. Go get it because it's there. It's like looking at lobster and shrimp. That part of it, and again. 12 turnovers in 2 games. If you're doing this in college, let's call a spade, fellas. You think that's not going to happen in the NBA? It's going to. So I don't know if they draft him. Great. I think it's great for the program, and I'm all about every player putting some money in their pocket. I ain't mad about that. So if he has the chance to be a lottery pick or a top 10 pick, then let him do it. I mean, I think that's great. But for right now, what I see. I'm sorry. I struggle with it. I'm not going to say be politically correct and say, okay, yeah, I don't see that. I'm blind about it. Everybody in the world can see it. Teams are purposely defending him this way because they know he hasn't grown and he hasn't taken the next step.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you, KP. It's just he's going to get drafted. He's going to be a top 8 pick because, like we said, it's all on potential. And his potential is through the roof. He got some height. He got some length. And so
strong.
He can knock down and shoot. He's a strong guard. So all of those measures check out for the NBA. He's in their measures, he's fundamentally sound because over there they teach a lot of more fundamentals before they come than what we do here in the last 20 years. And so he has that. And so, but yeah, I wish he needs to develop a floater game. He needs to develop that because he will be getting so deep into the paint and he doesn't have the lift. Like when he goes up against a team that has 6'9", 6'10", who could put their elbows over the rim, like Michigan State has a guy and Maryland has a couple of guys. Those have problems for him finishing in the paint because they're just meeting him at the rim.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I think he's got the talent, but if you watch the Purdue game and you see some of the action they do to get Loyal Fletcher open, I'd like to see KJ with some of that because I think that would put him into exactly the type of game that he'll be a little better at versus him trying to break down somebody who's laterally quicker than him all the time. And that's the part that I feel sorry for. It's just like, I don't care how good my attitude is. You throw the ball to me in the post and Marcus is guarding me, it's not going to turn out good. No matter how good my attitude is, no matter how hard I try, you're going to go, dude, stop doing that, and I just think sometimes he gets put into really tough situations. And then the other part is I don't think he was ever that I just think his confidence coming over to a new country, speaking a second language, all the things that come into that, I just think that he doesn't have the confidence. And so when things go bad, I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself. And that's something that he's just going to have to grow through as a human being. I mean, none of us were finished products when we were 18 years old.
What? So, y'all wasn't finished product at 18?
My wife tells me I'm 57 and I'm still a flawed product.
I'm still not a finished product.
That a boy, Griff. Mike, I like that.
I think that at one point this year, he did have the confidence.
And then he hurt that left wrist. He's not been the same.
Yes. I think whatever that wrist, I don't know if he trusts it now because he don't go to the basket as hard as he used to. He's not trying to bang when he get mismatches when he was in the post during that short game. I don't know if he feels comfortable with taking that contact on that arm. I don't know.
I agree.
Something has changed in his mental.
Yeah, because he was on a pace to maybe have the greatest freshman year in the history of Illini basketball until whatever happened to that left forearm. And he has not been the same since. And I'm not saying that he's hurt. I'm not saying, but I'm just telling you, you take a look at him statistically, and I think, that was it. And you would actually see the interesting thing is until that injury happened, you would see him come out at halftime and play offensively different because of how, and he would actually counter what teams were doing to him. And I don't know what happened, whether combination of his confidence got shaken, other teams got the book on him, both. Yeah. Rarely is it always just one thing.
I think it's both, Mike. I think you're right. I think it's both because the best game I've ever seen him play, and you guys can speak on this, when they lost at Northwestern, I became a fan. That kid was tough at Northwestern. He had some great games. Don't get me wrong. He had the great shot against Purdue, but overall, he just made bucket after bucket. And you know what? If he is injured, we're not going to know about it now. But when the season's over, typically the coach will say, well, he's played this way the whole time and he was hurt and injured. So maybe there's some truth to it. Who knows? But right now, we don't know that. So we got to analyze with what we see.
Yeah, what we see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As we look at this now, I'm looking at Illinois being a team that is like 80% of the teams in the NCAA tournament. They need the right matchups. Duke, it doesn't matter. UConn last year didn't matter who they got. Purdue was Zach Edey. It didn't matter.
Auburn,
but now Illinois is in that basket where they need the right matchups, I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I will agree because what they have shown and what Maryland did this time that they did a little bit at the same time, but they didn't knock us down as many threes, is that if you overly physical against Illinois, if you let Illinois just try to dominate you on the glass, you don't hit them first, they will dominate you. those guards will literally get in the paint, continue to rebound. And so that's why I feel comfortable with this first round. But the second round, just depending on their seeding, is going to be everything. Because if they get a 6 seed, like that second round matchup is going to be with the seeding that's going to test them a little bit. So like you were saying, the seeding is everything for Illinois. Matchups is going to be everything. I wish they would have won a couple more games in the tournament to get to that 5 line. But we here now, no more games until next week. So wait till Sunday to see how it all shakes out.
It is a seeding. I'm not going to lie. I said that when I got on. I'm going to pay attention to who they play and who's in their bracket because they could come out, and they may come out blazing the first game. The second game, they may lose. I want to apologize to the people. There's a tornado warning here, so I'm trying to be quick and mute this so you guys will hear our tornado warning here. I know you're about to get it too, Griff. Trust me. I heard where you live at too. So, but anyway, back to that. The matchups are big, and I got to see it. I'm not going to go into it picking a bracket with my heart. I'm going to be smart about it.
Yep. Agree with you, KP.
Yeah, I think that's totally adequate. I think the thing that gets me most though is I look at this. I'm trying to find like what as an Illini fan, what can you be positive about this game? And about the only thing I can think of is Morez played with energy and determination throughout it. He did learn a couple times that you do not need that extra dribble, especially against guys who are as good as what he had to play against. And I thought that at least towards the end, Will Riley got a little bit of his mojo back. And then I'm not seeing a lot to feel positive about. Marcus, you've played in these games. Is there what does an Illini basketball player? What are you trying to take out of this that you can be positive about?
To be honest, going into the tournament, you want to be as healthy as possible. Nobody got hurt. Morez Johnson was able to get a little bit more confidence, and Coach played the big lineup. I don't think he played as much as the big lineup against Iowa because I think he was staggering their minutes. But today, I think he went more to that big lineup with him and Tim together. And so other than that, there's really not much to take from. Like, you look at the film, you take it, you throw it away to burn it. Coach is going to look at that film. He's going to take down everything that he saw that they did right, did wrong, and he's never going to think about it again. He's going to go to the Iowa game. He's going to go to the last couple of games that they've had. But there's really nothing positive from this game. They was down 30 plus in this game.
When you look at the season, they had the worst loss in the history of the school a few weeks ago, and they were down by 30 tonight in the Big Ten tournament in the second round. Yeah. If people aren't concerned, you're crazy. I don't know. There's this, other than Will Riley and Morez Johnson, and it's different. I want to say something else. You know what? As good as Ibisage is, he just has no ambitions to get in that post to just put his elbows in somebody's face to just go dunk on them. He just wants to shoot threes and be a facilitator, and I'm cool with that. But at some point in time, you got to get to the post, because if you get to the post, not only is the percentage goes up, but you may get a foul on the opposing center. We don't have that unless Morez is in the game, and there was a couple of times I think he took an extra dribble too. And yes, he's young, and the game changes when he's in the game. But at some point in this summer, because I'm 99% sure Visage will be a guy who's going to come back. He has to add that to his post game, and I know Orlando Antigua does a good job with post guys because we all saw Kofi got better. If he can develop a post game, think about it. When do you ever see him just sit on the block, bend his butt down there, and just take and score over someone? When he gets it in the post, 9 times out of 10, you see Trey White looking to cut because he's not going to finish over the top of people. That's part of his game is missing. And I think if they get a big guy in the tournament, that's going to hurt Illinois again. It's frustrating. It's not going to change. There's nothing that they can do about it right now. When you look in the mirror, that's who they are. But if it's me, you can have all the team meetings you want. You can have all the coaches meetings you want, all the text messages and Snapchats. They need to get tougher, not let people take the ball from them, and really, really understand, Because like some of these guys, I think it was Will Riley talked about the other day, he never even watched the NCAA tournament. How do you grow up not watching? I know it wasn't available to him. These, Griff, you saw, you knew. I mean, these kids, and it's not because of the state thing. Some of these kids just don't have that passion. And I think it looks like it, and I know this is probably bad to say because we have a current player on the roster. Sometimes, and I know this may not be factual, it looks like the fans care more than some of the kids because not every kid, so don't say I'm saying that, guys, but sometimes when it's over, you're supposed to forget about it. But if it's me, I'm mad. I'm not going to let this happen to me. I'll end with this. Steve Bardo said it best. When teams punch you in the mouth, Griff, you guys had it, man. You didn't allow it. You punched back, and this team doesn't have it. Because you score 100 points on Iowa doesn't mean you punch back. Yeah. You got to fight back.
Well, can I say something? KP, I'm going to come at you because I very much care that he's out there shooting threes. Like I told y'all a couple podcasts ago, I will get him on the block. He will have to shoot the ball on the block. I will tell him, for every 1 3 you shoot, I need 5 post touches. 5 post touches. I didn't say you have to shoot, but I need 5 post touches. I need you to try to post up. Because what hurts me the most is when I see they switch and he has somebody 6'11", 6'2", 6'3" guarding him. And in my mind, I'm like, if I was ever in the game and I saw somebody 6'3" guarding me, I am just going straight, ducking into the front of the rim. Throw me the ball. Like
Griff, hang on a second. Griff, let me cut you off 1 second. That's exactly what I said. You have that mentality, my friend, and you do. And Kenny Battle and Terrence Shannon. I'm sorry, they don't have that, buddy. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your statement. But that's my point. Listen. I saw you play in high school. I saw you play in junior college. I saw you play in college. I'm not saying because you're on this podcast with me. You didn't run from it. If somebody tried to get the ball to you in the post and you had advantage, you tried to tear the rim down. That is the difference between you and these kids. I'm sorry to cut you off, buddy.
No, but but I just think we live in an era now that 3-point shooting with efficiency and all of that good stuff is coming into play. You get a big guy who can shoot threes and they love it. I'm old school. I love the fact that he can knock down, he can spread the defense. But sometimes you got to give your team what they are totally missing. And right now, and when it's a storm around them and Illinois needs a bucket, they have nobody who can consistently get a bucket. And I will say the 7'1" guy, go to the block. I need you to hit me with a couple of – I don't care if you miss them. Be aggressive and go get it. Just be aggressive at it. And then guess what? Maybe a guard wants to dig down a little bit. And then next way you kick that 3 out, and it's a totally different 3 once you're stepping in, going into the basket. Then you're doing stepping back, shooting a 25-foot step back 3. It's just different. And so that's all I wanted to say. I just would like for him to get on the block, throw a couple jump shots, go over that right shoulder, because he's a left-hander, go over that right shoulder all day long. Ain't nobody going to block it. It's going to be up for him and having the confidence to go down there and do it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you talk about is his passing ability really is quite impressive. He will get the ball. I think he looks like he enjoys getting assists as well. So go in there and let him get the assists. Yeah. Let him feel good about that. That's the exact type of thing you really want to have happen, and he could pick teams apart by doing that. So yeah, I don't really know exactly where that would, why not, on that type of thing. He wouldn't want to do that.
Mike, let me tell you something. You want to know what coaching matters? The last 4 games Illinois won, they have just carved people apart with that backdoor layup thing and skip passes. You didn't see that tonight. Maryland took that away from them. When you take away your strength, because that's what Illinois does. Think about it. That's why Trey White has been so successful as of late, is because he's been cutting to the basket and because what he's been able to do. Tonight, he had 8 points. He had 20-something last night. So they took that away, and when you take that away, that means the Beaches is not as effective because Boswell didn't get those layups. How many alley-oops did you see Boswell get? How many did you see Will Riley get? They denied, they switched, They held their hands high. They knew when Illinois was going to make that pass, and Illinois did not adjust to it.
Yeah, they was ready.
Yeah, well,
Maryland was ready tonight.
And they talked as much about they thought the key to the game was stopping Boswell, because so much came off of him the way he's been playing, and I thought they did a nice job on that. They also talked about taking Ivisic and KJ out of the game, and they made it hard on everybody very quickly. So you like I said at the start, Ked, before you got on, Maryland is a tough matchup, and then when you play bad on top of that's not good. And I think ultimately, Illinois needs to figure out, when somebody takes a swipe at them, they have to figure out how you were going to fight back. And I think too often they get back on their heels. It almost reminds you watch a fight, when somebody gets hit by a boxer and they go, wow, that guy, like Mike Tyson, that guy hits hard. All of a sudden they're fighting, on their back foot. Game's over when you lose that initiative like that.
Mike, can you give me something? Can you let me know what did we shoot from three and what was the rebounding battle?
Yeah. Now the ironic thing is Illinois shot 22% from the three for the game. And they only shot 27, but they only made 6. Meanwhile, Maryland was 11 for 23 for 47%. Now, Illinois did out-rebound Maryland 47-38.
Wow.
But I think a lot of that
I did not think that.
Me either.
I think a lot of that, though, was you had Reese and Queen. They only played – Reese played 21 minutes and Queen played 23.
Oh, yeah,
so they barely
right
played a full game out there. So I think that may be part of the issue. Now, folks, we will have on in just about a minute here. We will have Brad Sturdy on, but first let's take a listen to one of our sponsors, Busey Bank.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
I can't wait, Ked, until they get an Illini guys version of that thing where you'll be sitting there talking to some person about all the money you're making, and then, of course, we'll have Sturdy with a bank, a whole truck of money. Hey, Brad. So Brad, you were there. I'm not certain if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Any thoughts on what you saw tonight?
It was hard to watch. I mean, the good thing is you guys could like change the channel or at least look away. I was stuck. It was like burning my retinas watching that. So, but no, Maryland came out, hit him in the mouth, made some shots early. They let Rice get going, and they just didn't have any. Brad Underwood, talking to him in the locker room after the game, he said that they just didn't have any energy even pregame. It was almost like, and some people said they were intimidated or scared, nervous. I think that they just weren't prepared for the way that Maryland defends. They're so good defensively, and then so it kind of affected them on their defensive end, but they just didn't do a good job. They didn't have any didn't stay connected to their guys, let Rice get free, and then they got free runs to the basket. So it was really a poor defensive effort, and that set the tone. You can't give up 57 points in a half and expect to win very often, unless you're playing Iowa maybe. But this is this is a really bad defensive performance. And Brad said it was on him. He didn't have them ready. They were kind of not they weren't very excited or hyped like they were yesterday for the game, and I think that showed when they got out on the court.
How does that happen, Brad?
Young guys, man. This is a team that in their high major wins, they average winning by 15 points a game. In their high major losses, they average losing by 15 points a game or 14 point something. This is a team that is the most bipolar group I think I've ever seen. And a lot of that is because your key players are young. They're young guys. You're relying on freshmen to do a lot of things for you. Or guys, even if they're, I don't know what Ivisic is, freshman, sophomore. I don't know, but you rely on these guys who haven't ever played in college basketball hardly, and so you're relying on them to be your leaders, to take charge. And when you do that, you're going to have days when you're good, and you're going to have days when you're bad. I mean, I'm sure Marcus can tell you that early in his career they were maybe not always connected as well as they were in that last year when they looked like they were, every game they brought it like it was a war. So I think that's common, but you can't afford it now. And when it's one and done, you can't afford to have a bad day. I guess talking to Kylan and Boswell after the game, he said, last time we got beat like this, we went 4 in a row. So let's do that again, and then we'll be in the Final Four.
Confidence is one of those things that can change. And I wanted, after the Duke game, I needed to see Illinois play some games, because I would have been afraid after the Duke game if we went straight into conference tournament to NCAA tournament. Because confidence, you got to ring over some victories, play well to have that confidence. Now they finna go straight into the NCAA tournament with this taste in their mouth. How are they feeling? Are they physically, mentally feeling like they can get the job done? And all year, this team has been like this roller coaster all year long, with sickness, with injuries. I just don't know where their confidence is at right now. Man, I wish they would have played. If it would have been a closer game and just lost at the end, you'd be like, okay, they fighting, they hungry, you see it. But to get hit in the mouth like that and not respond like the heart of a champion, like you're trying to win championships, it's just way that you got to respond. And it was just sad to see that.
It was like Mike Tyson against Michael Spinks. Not gonna lie, that's what it reminded me.
Yep.
Peter McNeely.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think there are things. I was talking to Merez Johnson too in the locker room. He mentioned how they really got away from what they didn't even follow their scouting report and game plans. They just kind of lost guys that they weren't supposed to lose. They didn't play the right ball screen coverage at times. They didn't, get it. Just all the defensive breakdowns. The help didn't come from the right spot. He was talking about how all the things we practice now. In talking to them, maybe it's some of these guys, it's the first time they had played, back-to-back days where you had that one, no prep. So it was just like, get back to the hotel, go through scouting. But, and so I guess they didn't really have the normal, like what you would say, like a one-day prep that you normally get. And so maybe these young guys struggled with that. That's the only thing I can think, because both Merez Johnson and Kylan and KJ talked about how they really got away from their scouting reports and not following the game plan, which was pretty evident when it was about 29-10 early on.
Hey, somebody just posted here real quick. I don't know if it's a factual post that Kevin Willard said after the game. He knew Illinois was young. You could go at them and be very physical. I think they have struggled and lost to all the teams that were physical with them. I think that's probably a fair assessment.
Yeah, Willard actually, one thing Willard said too was he said we're so different than Iowa in the way we play. So it was he said it was an advantage for us to play them after they played Iowa, because Iowa doesn't protect the rim. He didn't really go into details, but Iowa doesn't protect the rim. And Maryland has two guys who are tremendous rim protectors. And so you basically can get whatever you want against Iowa, and then against Maryland, there's guys there. So it made it, they were passive. They were afraid to go to the rim because they thought they might get a shot blocked or didn't think they could finish, all those things. And so, yeah, I think that's true. I think, and Maryland's going to have a game plan. They're old guys, Reese is older. Queen's not older, but he's really, really good. And, but I think they got some old guys and they were prepared and they were ready to go and rested and fresh and just really got after Illinois, and Illinois couldn't, sometimes you do get hit in the mouth. You got to figure out how you're going to, handle it. And they did not respond well.
Nope.
No, I agree with that. And, that you'd like to think I guess from a construction standpoint, Brad, will we see Illinois in the portal this year? Will they be looking to do what Underwood said last year was his goal, which is to get old and stay old?
They need to do that. They have to.
I appreciate you being able to come out too.
I also think you have to have continuity. I mean, you can't just get 10 new guys every year. I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, you got to have some core guys returning. I mean, last year, they had old guys, a lot of new guys in the portal that were old, but you brought back Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins, and that makes a huge difference to have those guys who had been through the wars and knew what they were supposed to be doing. And I think that's where they got to have some guys come back that are key pieces. And I know some people think, well, this guy's this, that, and the other. We have shiny new toy syndrome now with the portal. Every guy in the portal is better than the guy you have, and even if he did it against some team in the MAC where they don't even attempt to play defense, he put up good numbers. Well, he's the best player ever, and the guy you have who just competed in the Big Ten isn't good enough, and that's what happens. And fans are like this, and the coaches can't get like that. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you have some continuity, and but they're gonna need some guys who can score next year. Because you lose a lot of, you're going to obviously lose KJ, and who creates a lot, and you're going to probably lose Will Riley, who creates a lot. His stock's gone up, and so we're going to have to find some guys who can score, and some guys who can create offense.
Can I ask you gentlemen a question? When was the last Big Ten freshman led Big Ten team that had success in the Big Ten?
Wow.
I mean, it's been a while.
Greg Oden, Ohio State.
Yeah. I mean, and Greg Oden at that time was probably
60.
He also had he's 42 years old. So at the age of 18. So and then Mike Conley. So you had the one pick and two top 10 picks there, and that's so I guess it's possible, but it's not very likely, right? I mean, the Fab Five did well, but Fab Five did well. It was a different era. And I also think it's even worse now because of all the COVID years that people are still using this year. So guys are like 25 and 26 years old against 18 and 19-year-olds. And I don't know about you, but I was a lot stronger at 25, 26 than I was at 18 or 19.
Oh, yeah. Agree.
By that time, Brad had over 300 credit hours, too.
I did. I was Dr. Sturdy at that point. So,
well, I guess as I looked at this, Brad, we were kind of bouncing around trying to figure out what Illinois feels good about coming out of this this game, and all I could come up with was Will Riley played well at the end, and Morez hustled the whole game. Beyond that, did you see anything that made you go, "Hey, here's something they can build on"?
Well, I mean, I think it's just I think the hard part about that is it's one game. You can it's one loss, and you're going to lose games occasionally. I mean, it was a bad loss, and they sucked. But then you look at it and say, well, maybe it's good to get it out of the way. But the one thing I liked about their demeanor was, and it was both Boswell said this, Morez Johnson said this, and they both said, hey, last time we really stunk it up and we got beat badly. We went on a 4-game run against, beat one at Michigan. They beat Purdue, and those, and they beat Iowa twice. But I mean, those are the kind of games you're going to have to win in the NCAA tournament. And so they feel like, hey, if we can win 4 in a row, we feel pretty good about that. Now, it's not going to be that easy because probably that third game is going to be against somebody like Maryland, even if it isn't Maryland. So, it's not going to be Iowa or Michigan or probably Purdue. So, teams like that. So they're going to have to find a way to play better. But Brad Underwood mentioned that that's something that really feels like this might have been a good thing for them to see, kind of a one-and-done scenario where they understand that you can't go through the motions. Like you have to bring it every time, and you have to understand how important that is. And in talking to him kind of game, that's what he kind of said, that's what going to be our focus for the next 2 days until they find out who they're going to play, and then they're going to go from there.
Can I say something real quick? It's something that KP said earlier when he was talking about dogs. But I expect Boswell and Morez Jr. to make that comment about we bounce back. Well, who I would love to hear that from is KJ. I would love to hear him say that, because then that let me know where his mental is. I expect that from the other two, but when he says it'll feel a little different. Or if the big boys say, well, we're going to bounce back because we had this, or we're going to be ready to go. It's just a different mindset that I can see from those guys. So I understand Boswell said, I always felt like Boswell got that dog in him. I always think Morez Johnson has that dog in him. So I'll be expecting those two to say that. I want to hear other people say that off that team. Do they truly believe that? That's all I want to say.
I agree with you, Marcus. It's a great point.
So do I.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that, and I think that's what will figure into where KJ is going to go in the draft. And I think people, if I read the comments here, I think people have to figure out we don't have propaganda. We don't go, oh, KJ. We haven't dreamed up that KJ is going to be a top 10 pick. We just look at all the different draft prognostications out there, and that's where he's at. So we're just telling you where he's at right now. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't go, 25th. But right now, if you had to bet money, it would be a relatively safe bet that he's going to go in the top 10. Now, every day is a new data point, and there'll be other data points afterwards. But right now, he's expected to go 5th, 6th, or 7th right now in the draft. Brad?
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about it, those guys work their butts off. They want to win. And I know they're not the same as Boswell or Morez, but they do work hard. They do want to win. I mean, Will Riley's in the gym constantly. And the other thing I would say is that one thing about KJ was that first play of the second half really helped me understand that if you saw him in that first play, there's like a play where the ball gets on the floor. He's diving on the floor. He got a foul. That was the kind of play. Now, the thing is, it took till the start of the second half for him to do that. I think that's the issue because he realized at halftime, hey, we're getting our ass kicked. I got to come out and I got to do something, which was good. But at the same time, like Marcus says, that's got to be his mindset from the tip. You know what I mean? He's got to have that mindset. And I think that's where he needs to kind of make that next step. And you hope he does it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So what does the schedule look like for them now, Brad? What are they going to do? Are they going to have some sort of team watch party for the picks on Sunday night? And then how do they line up their practice and travel for the next week?
Yeah, so they're going to be so they'll go back home. I don't know if they're going back tonight or they might be going back tonight actually. But they're going to go back and then they're going to, to get some stuff done tomorrow and Sunday. And then Sunday they're going to have a team watch party, but it's going to be private. And then Brad and some of the guys will meet with the media after they get their selection announcement. So I'll be over there for that. Then on it's actually right before the women's selection show, and the women are having a kind of a special thing for their announcement. So over there also as well. So we'll be over there for that too Sunday night. So pretty exciting stuff when you kind of see, at least they're, you're in the tournament. Now you got a chance to see where you're at. I think, and then you just see where you're playing. Then you go from there, whether it's a Tuesday, Thursday game or a Thursday, Saturday game, whether it's a Friday, Sunday game. I've seen a lot of projections with them in Milwaukee. But man, that would be fantastic. I think you'd be shocked at how good they would, how good the Illinois fans travel, and that might be like almost, even though you may have a team that's considered the home team there. I think Illinois would have a pretty good draw there and have a really good fan base if they were in Milwaukee.
I'll be there.
There we go.
Yeah,
Can we get you to play some center?
Well, my knees, how many knee surgeries I done had, one trip up down the court, I'm down.
Yeah, we may only need that much. Just anything you can give us, Marcus.
But I promise you, I will hit somebody.
That is not hard to believe. And folks, if you weren't old enough to see Marcus play, that was probably, and I would argue probably of all the Illini teams that we've had over the years, his era would be what I call the most physical of any Illini era. Ted, Brad, you guys agree?
I agree with that. I'll tell you, if you want to see him, when my daughter first met, she's 26 now. When she first met Marcus Griffith in Peoria, she's like, Dad, who is that big guy? I pull my phone out, and I'm telling you listeners this, Marcus Griffith and his games, they're on YouTube. Because my daughter's like, that's that guy? So if you want to see you young tenderonies out there want to see how good Marcus Griffith was, go to YouTube because you can see it. It is there.
You can see high school games, all types.
I'm gonna tell you what. One of my favorite things to do was rest in peace, Coach McLean. But I remember watching Coach McLean take these guys through a pre-game workout on the morning of a game, and I'm telling you what, those dudes got after it in the morning before a game, even through a walkthrough. It wasn't a walkthrough, a sprint through, but I was watching. They do this little drill where they, Marcus, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you said this drill, you go to the elbow and then spin and go down the lane, and then just do this little warm-up drill. Then in the game, Marcus drives to the lanes, does the spin, and goes in and dunks. And I went, "That's what they're working on this morning." I was like, it was fantastic. So yeah, Marcus.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, to say that, like I had Coach McLean in high school. People do not understand how hard our practices was. From summertime, like to be mentally prepared, and then it just transitioned to Illinois. Because trust me when I tell you, while everybody else was enjoying summer breaks and doing all that good stuff, Coach McLean never allowed us to have a summer break off. We was in a gym with no AC, pounding that pavement every single day. And you saw a little bit of it when you saw Coach McLean workout. If you ever came to U of I and saw him working out those guys before games, it just gives me flashbacks to even think about it.
Yeah, those are some good memories. I mean, as Illini fans, you know, my memory goes back. I think the first of the great Illini teams in my memory was the 83-84 team with Ephraim and Bruce Douglas. I think Harper might have still been on that team, the one that got totally hosed by having to play Kentucky at Kentucky to go to the Final Four. And they also got victimized by a non-call that really in the last 30 seconds of the game that should have iced it for the Illini. Then you go, of course, to the 89 Flying Illini, who Marcus is not going to like this, but if there was a team I'd put my money on, if you had an all Illini tournament, I'd put it on them. Then you got Marcus's team.
Man, that's harsh, Mike. I can't believe you go against Marcus like that. Come on.
I go against Marcus like that because we're not in the same room.
No,
if we were in the same room,
he's not telling the truth. He don't mean that.
The best thing we ever had was when we had all those dudes at the was it Kenny and then D and then Marcus. Yeah. Yep. And they're going back and forth, 89, 01, 05, and they're just going up. That was the coolest thing, hearing those guys go at it, man.
That was fun.
I will say this till I'm blue in the face. It'll be about the pace of the game. The teams that can control the backboards in any one of those series will win the game. I will take my size, our size, Illinois' 01 size, how mean we was, how tough we was, how physical we was, how when you threw that ball on the backboard, you had to be ready to go. I will take that. If we do not rebound the ball, both of those teams will run us out the gym because they're going to get up and down the floor. They're going to get athletic. 05 team is going to shoot a bunch of threes. They're going to get up and down the floor. D is going to be trying to get out in transition. The 89 squad, they had a trio of just gigantic guards from the three man to the 2 man to the point guard. But again, we had size at the back in our forwards and our centers. So like I said, you throw that ball on the backboard, that's who's going to be determined who's going to win. And I will take 01 all day long, every day, twice on Sunday.
Griff, I got a question. Chris, I got a question for you. Griff, I got a question for you. And if I'm wrong, tell me, were you on the team when you guys played Arizona when they shot like 54,000 free throws? Was that your group?
Yes.
You want to send me in depression?
No, because here's why I'm asking. Because here's why. Back then, back in the day when I was like 10 years old when that happened, being sarcastic, did you feel as a player that we just got cheated? I don't give a damn what anybody says.
1,000%.
Okay, can you tell us why you thought you got cheated? Because fans have always asked me, and now there's a player who can explain it. What happened, and why do you think you got cheated?
Okay, so let's say, how many Big Ten basketball games do you say we played that year? We went to the Big Ten tournament, and we had all our regular season games.
18 plus 4, so like 22.
Yeah. So we've had enough of how physical we were. What changed in that game that we had 50 some odd fouls called against us? When in no game, that was probably 20, 25 more than we done played against Michigan State at the Hall. 2 physical bruising teams with Zach Randolph and those boys. Nobody shot 50-something free throws. So we was like, why all of a sudden in this game at this point, if referees was mad at how physical we was, they could have checked us months ago. Was like, guys, y'all play too physical. We're going to start calling this a little tighter. Y'all need to stop. We never had those conversations with the officiating. Never once. They got into that game because of Lou Olson got on the news and say, oh, they are physical. They play a rough game of basketball. Refs are human. Refs are going to read that stuff.
Yep.
And it put it in their minds that, oh, okay, that forearm is a little bit too hard. That chest is a little bit too much. So there was some real fouls in that game too. Now, I'm not going to say we wasn't fouling, but we wasn't fouling like that to have 6 people foul out of a semifinal, like to go to the Final Four. No, never.
Okay. All right. I was just curious because I knew it was, I think it was 50, I think it was 54 or something like that.
That was a record at the time. I don't know if it's.
I fouled out and I was on TV. I was watching on TV.
I say we was, oh my God, because I think we lost to Duke by 3 that year. We had split with Arizona and then they won that last game. We beat, who else was in the Final Four? Michigan State?
Yeah, I think so because that was the year they won it.
And Maryland, wasn't it?
Because they won it. Michigan State, that's the last time the Big Ten has ever won a championship. Was 2000.
No, that was 99. That was 2000. Yep, that was 2000. Yeah, we talk about 2001. Yep.
2000. And Maryland won in what, 02?
Yep.
Whenever in the ACC.
Whew, that was a rough game.
Yeah.
If we would have just, if we would just been maturing, okay, guys, the referees are calling it like this. We need to change on the fly. But we were so in the moment, we just couldn't flip the switch.
And you would have got a chance to play if you had beat that Arizona team. You would have had your opportunity to go ahead and then play Michigan State again.
We would have beat them again.
Yeah. That's so. This is what we get at Illini, guys. We try to talk about it, and when I hear people say that Illinois fans have PTSD, it comes from that because we got a chance to see that Dickie Beal non-call on a 7-step travel or whatever it was that everybody couldn't see. At least the referee right there couldn't see. We got to see the Austin P game. We got to watch Finis Dembo lead Wyoming over Illinois. There was just all these weird moments. The 9,000 fouls in 2001. The fact that Augustine, before the opening tip, had 3 fouls against North Carolina. So we've seen everything down to we can't review.
What was the dude's
call.
name? Pace Mannion?
Pace Mannion in 1 year and Finis Dembo the next year. As a freshman in high school or whatever I was in that year, maybe junior high, we would stay up late.
You were like
to watch
25
the
then. You were like 25 then.
Exactly.
Don't lie.
We would stay up late. The Illini are playing at 10 o'clock. The Illini, and we're like, who is Pace Mannion and how are they beating this Illinois team that's so good? So yeah, and then of course, you remember, you guys are too young to remember this, Marcus, but then Dick Vitale, before the Austin P game, if these guys beat the Illini, I will stand on my head in the middle of the assembly hall. Next year, he's got to get a little towel and stand on his head because Austin P beat him in the NCAA. I mean, it was just that's where Ellen. That's why when I said the matchups are really important. That's what I was like.
No question. And don't you think, like, you look at this team and you look in this tournament, and I think matchups are huge, but they're also, you just, like Brad Underwood said, you got to keep putting yourself in a position every year. Last year, they put themselves in a position. I think had they been a 3 seed in a different region, not with UConn or Purdue, I think they could have been in the Final Four. I think they were just
championship game against UConn.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so I think sometimes it's matchups, sometimes it's luck. So they get a good draw here, and you never know what can happen. And you just got to go out and play. And I just hope it's, close enough that I can drive there, so I don't have to get on an airplane again.
They just gotta be like, they gotta look in the mirror and say, we gotta bring the dog, because you're not going to win a national championship scoring 90 points. It's going to be how many times you can keep a team under their average. That's how they're going to score. That's how they're going to get to a Final Four. If they're giving up 80, 90 points a game in this tournament, it's going to be a quick tournament. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They got to play some defense like they ain't played since maybe Oregon game.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good thing to end on, folks. We just hit the hour mark. I tell you what, that was great. We have Marcus on. We get a chance to talk about things that you just can't talk about as guys who have covered the team, and obviously we've coached at lower levels. But when you get that, you get to this time, you get memories from a guy who's been there on a team that was probably arguably one of the 4 best teams in the country and got hosed over because Lute Olson was retiring or whatever was going on. I can't remember if that was the year his wife had cancer or if that was the year he was retiring.
Yes.
So, the referees anyway, but so it is a, yeah. Okay. We're going to close with this.
I know what you're going to put up there. I knew it.
Can you be at practice tomorrow with the 01, 05, and 1989 guys and speak to this year's guys?
I knew that was coming. I saw that.
It would be cool. They should have some of those guys come and talk to them.
Good point.
Maybe,
Illinois has such a tradition.
Bring somebody in. They have so many guys like this. Have Marcus come down there. Have D. Brown come down there. Have Darren Williams will fly back and talk to them. You got all these guys that can have come in there, and just talk about toughness and how what it's like playing one and done. Shoot, you bring Terrence Shannon, talk to him.
I will do that without the coaches.
They need that, Griff. They do.
They do.
Yes, I would want to just do it with the players, because that's when you're gonna get the real raw emotion. You're gonna see what the temperature truly is. Leave the coaches out. Coaches will go do coaches things, and then let an ex-player talk to the players.
Yep. Well, hey, folks, that was we will have a NCAA preview podcast either Sunday night or Monday night. We have to see when we can get everybody together, and we will talk about it. Of course, we will have coverage with Brad at the game. Ked and I will be covering remotely. We got to keep the costs affordable for everything. Certainly, if you want to subscribe and be an Illini Guys member, that helps us with all those type of things so that we can afford the airfare or pay the insurance when Brad hitchhikes to a NCAA site. So we want to make sure
you gotta do.
Gotta get there some kind of way.
Yeah. And Marcus, maybe you just need to show up over at Ubben and just make a speech. Yep.
I definitely want to get to practice. KP got the hookup for me so I could get in the building this time around. So
just let me know. Yep, I got you.
Yep. So we will be back Sunday or Monday night. So be looking for that. And again, we have certainly enjoyed this regular season has been up and down, but it's kind of what we predicted for you when we said they have a high ceiling and a low floor, and we have seen with the Michigan game on the road and the Oregon game on the road that the ceiling can be very high. And with what we saw tonight and what we saw against Duke, the floor can be really low. Been a heck of a regular season. Now we have to hope for the guys to play well and the matchups to be beneficial, but that's no different than any other year in the NCAA tourney. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And, of course, we will be back. And until then, go Illini.